everyone, welcome back to another live session. And
Hello.
I'm very excited about this one. We're live with Sebi, who's joining us from Ivan. And today we're going to answer one of the most asked questions around Java, which is what are the opportunities in Java? I think the Java bootcamp I've done is the one of the most popular ones on my channel, at least. The playlist, I think, has crossed 10 million views now. I think
Wow.
that's one of the reasons why people ask, you know, why Java, and we're learning Java from you. That's fine, but what are the opportunities and open source opportunities, open source projects? Fun fact: like my first open source project was in a Java open source project. My first contribution, the Fabricate.io
Oh
Kubernetes
yeah.
client. Super excited for this session because we already have 300 people joining, so this is going to be fun.
Awesome.
It's streaming on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter at once. So that's why we have a lot of people joining in. But yeah, we'll answer some of the nice questions, and we will also take questions live. So if you have any questions, make sure you leave those in the comment section, maybe on Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube, wherever you feel comfortable. We'll see all of the questions. And yeah, before we get started, Sebi, would you like to give yourself a quick intro? Tell us what you do and what
Yeah,
Ivan
sure. Yeah, sure. Though, thank you so much, Kunal, for the invite. First of all, so I'm Sebi. That's my nickname. My real name is Sebastian. I'm French. You can probably hear that from my accent. And I'm a developer advocate at Ivan. What is Ivan? Ivan is a data platform where you can deploy your data infrastructure. Okay. The topic today is not directly linked to that. I will mention it a bit when we will talk about Java and streaming data, persisting data. Is Java good for that? Okay. Speaking of Java, I'm a Java developer. I develop in Java since the start of my career back in 2004. I'm a Java champion. I love Java. And I think the future of Java is more exciting than ever. So that's it for me. And
Awesome.
there you are back.
Yeah, we're already getting a lot of questions, so keep the questions coming. One
Yeah.
request that I have from people is only send your question once,
Okay.
because if you send it multiple times, I get like, so right now even the chat is like it's so hard to keep up. But yes, shout out to Ivan, and you can check out the links in the description below. You can sign up to Ivan, and uh, I think if you sign up with my code that I've added in the description, you get some free credits that you can use. And if you want to learn how to use Ivan, or want to take your Java development journey further, I did a Spring Boot tutorial, which is already close to 100,000 views. So very
Yeah.
much appreciate everyone showing the support there. But I got some good feedback on it, so I think you can check out that video as well. And if you need like production ready clusters for MySQL and stuff, yeah, you can try Ivan for free. And if you use my sign up link, you'll get free credits as well. But moving forward, about Java, right? So Sebi, my tutorials that I've made have been like, okay, you learn about Java, intro to Java, object-oriented programming, and the frameworks and like collection framework, and uh, all sorts of best practices, and then revolving around data structures and algorithms. But the question people get is like, what are some of the trends for various like Java tech stacks? So recently I started teaching about build tools, and I did the Spring Boot tutorial, as I just mentioned. So according to you, can you maybe share what are some of the emerging trends in the Java technology stacks, and how are they influencing the current software development practices?
Okay. That's a really good question, a really broad question. So Java Java is here since 1996, so it's 28. I cannot. It's 28 years old, more or less. Okay, and there's a huge growing community. Back in 2004, when I was working, Java was really the language for the enterprise. Okay, there was no cloud yet. Okay, we had those big application servers, and Java was the king. And then later we started to see the move to the cloud. Okay, interesting story about that. It started more or less with Java. It was with Netflix. One of the most popular cloud stories is Netflix. They had their own data infrastructure, and at one point it went down, and they say, okay, enough, let's put that in the cloud. And they were Java users, they were Spring Boot users, and they started to develop a lot of libraries around the cloud elasticity, resiliency. Okay, and that's how Spring Boot became really popular, thanks to Netflix. Okay, but quickly, with the whole containerization and the whole Node.js and the whole Go stuff, Java became a bit less popular in the cloud space because, you know, everyone say, hey, Java is slow, which is not really true, by the way. Java is heavy. It's consuming a lot of memory. That is true, okay? But things have changed since. So at one point, enterprise Java and cloud, it went so, and at one point they decided, hey, what can we do in Java world to bring it back, okay? So there were a lot of initiatives, Microprofile, for instance, that started implementing specification for the cloud in Java. Spring Boot was still doing well, and it's still doing well. And since a few years, we have new Java stacks, like Quarkus. Okay, I often mention Quarkus. I'm a big fan of Quarkus because they take a totally different approach for building Java artifacts. Instead of doing a lot at runtime, they decided to do a lot at build time as an effect. When you start your Java project, your jar, your runnable jar, well, it starts really, really fast. And well, memory wise, it's still lower. They went even further. They say, hey, can we compile this Java code, this bytecode, into native code? And this is where Oracle came with this awesome project called GraalVM, where you can compile your application, your Java application, into native code, and then run it in a container, a Linux container. And then, well, the startest time, it beats everyone. It beats Go, it beats Node.js, of course. And memory wise, it's really, really small. So this is a really exciting part. So Quarkus is doing that. Spring Boot has also now native support. You also have Crack, which is a new system to record methods that are often called and just replay it when you start your app. So Java has caught up in the cloud native space. That is really an interesting part. That is for the runtime, the workloads that you run in the cloud. Java is now also used for the whole tooling around the cloud space. Okay, if you need to build a Kubernetes operator, usually people do that in Go. Now you can do that also in Java. And believe me, it's really easy and really powerful. So that is for the cloud native space. Then, of course, we have to mention AI. For a long, long time, Python was the way to go for doing AI. But since a few months, it's really recent, but it's really booming. You can start to see a lot of Java libraries that are like wrapping the open AI API. They are really integrating Java into this generative AI models. And that is really exciting. And it's not big, small players like Microsoft is investing a lot in Java and in AI. Red Hat is also a lot investing in it. And what is the advantage if you have to choose between Python and Java? Well, Java has the whole industrial ecosystem around it. When we come starts building about talking about CI, CD, dependency management, there's tooling around Java, and people start putting AI projects in production now. Okay, and in Python they are a bit lost because it's really hard to industrialize those projects. While with Java, it's really really easy because all the tooling, the whole ecosystem is already there. So I'm really excited about that. One thing is, you maybe know LangChain, which is a really nice library for generative AI. Now we have LangChain for J, so LangChain for Java. Okay, and everyone is contributing to this project. All my friends, all my Java champions, they are contributing to it. I'm contributing to it. So it's really, really exciting times for Java, both in the cloud native space, both in the AI space. So I think the two more important spaces right now in the IT industry, and Java has really a nice share there. So I see so many comments. I don't know how we handle the comments, the questions, if there are any questions, because, but
Yeah, we're getting quite a lot of questions. I'll compile those and we'll answer those as we
okay,
go. One of the questions we're getting, because you mentioned about cloud computing, can you
yeah.
share how Java is maybe, because people in, like, let's say there was this misconception around Java being slow, then you mentioned about Quarkus. So in the field of cloud computing, how Java is evolving, to meet the demands of cloud computing or like serverless architecture, so on and so forth.
Okay, so again, I can explain a bit more like the Quarkus approach, how we made Java faster and lighter. Okay, so I mentioned instead of doing stuff at runtime, we do it at build time, because Java at a runtime, what it does a lot of parsing the metadata data. Okay, it does all the injections, and that is stuff that happens at runtime when you start, when you do Java jar your jar. Okay, and that can take some time, and engineers at Red Hat, they realize, hey, all those stuff, we could do that at runtime. We could see exactly where the code will go. We can clean up, remove all the classes. We could do all the injections of dependencies. We could create all the metadata during build time. Okay, and we record that like in a memory file. Okay, and at the startup, we inject that in the jar, and as a result, just to tell you, we are still talking JVM, no native stuff. A Spring Boot app usually takes 250 megabyte of memory, okay, of RAM, and it will grow a bit with the heap space, okay. With the Quarkus approach, the same app, like a simple microservices that expose a few REST services and that can persist data with Hibernate, for instance, a really simple app, it takes 110 megabyte. Okay, so we're already half of it. If you introduce a Graal VM, and oh yeah, and the startup time is around 1 second. Okay, you have 1 second and your app is running, which is pretty fast, but not fast enough, for instance, for serverless. With Graal VM, you compile to native. You end up with a smaller binary, but a way smaller memory print. The same app, a few REST endpoints, persistency, it will be around 30 megabyte. Imagine the deployment density that you can have, okay? And the startup time for a native app is 0.003. So it's like like this, okay? So now you can use Java for serverless, because what is serverless? Serverless is, I don't receive a request on my workload, so I scale to 0. Imagine it's in Kubernetes, you have your pod running. If there's no traffic, it goes back to 0. At the moment that a request comes in, it wakes up my pod and it starts serving the requests. If you are using an old Java framework or an old version and that takes 10 seconds, 15 seconds to start, that is not doable for serverless. You don't want your user to wait 15 seconds to get a response, okay? And you still want to benefit from serverless. If you compile to native, okay, your app will start instantly. And yeah, when it's done handling the request, it will just go back to sleep. And so you save memory, CPU time, etc. And that is all possible now with Java.
Yeah, Quarkus is cool. I love Quarkus. I think I was a mentor for Quarkus for the Google Summer of Code 2022. No,
Mm,
2020, because I did mine in
awesome.
2018, 2019, somewhere around that. But I'm saying that because some people are asking about GSOC, because I think there's just 20 days left. So I think you can try, like there are plenty of Java projects. You can check out JBoss organization. You can check out the GSOC website. A lot of questions around MERN stack versus Spring
Yeah,
Boot.
I see that.
So MERN stack versus full stack Java developer. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So let me completely honest. I saw a lot of this term MERN. I say, what is MERN? So I Google it right now. And I see MongoDB Express React Node. Okay. So sure. I I'm not here to bash against any other stacks. Okay. Um, I'm a Java developer. I don't know that much about the whole GS world. I'm sure the stack is great. The thing is, keep in mind that a lot of companies, big companies, even startups, they build their core components in Java. Java is really everywhere in banking, insurances, government systems. Okay, so um, I haven't seen that much of MERN stacks around in my career, and I have now 20 years of experience. I've been working really in all the fields. I saw a bit of Node.js from some parts, but often the core system is Java. Okay, but that doesn't mean that learning the MERN stack. Okay, you will get skills for whatever framework you will decide to learn after that. Okay, because there are some principles that won't change. Okay, and then it's just a matter of using a different programming language, especially if you're doing TypeScript. Okay, uh, that's not that far away from Java. If I know people would get crazy if I say that on Twitter, for instance, but that's the reality. Okay, we are developers. We know how to develop. Doesn't matter really which language it is. Okay, we get the
Hmm.
principles. So yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to adopt. And I think forget like if not just Java, there are other you know other things that are being used currently as well, like PHP, you know,
PHP. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and people pay so much money for that. So I don't think Java itself is going anywhere. Like if you see in the banking industry, it's used quite heavily as well. But you mentioned about AI and ML. What potential for Java is in the field of AI ML, and what are, according to you, the key challenges and the opportunities?
Okay. So AI ML was the domain of Python. Okay, and even now it is still they get the picture. One reason of that is that Python is more an academic language, and AI and ML until now was more for researchers. They were developing all those crazy models, and to make it easy, they were using Python because they know how to do Python, quickly throw a script and stuff like that. Uh, but again, as I told you in the introduction, AI ML is so much booming right now. It's infiltrating all the aspects of our world. So it's also affecting the development. Okay. And the whole Java ecosystem realized that and thought, hey, maybe it's time for us to also enter this field. And it started out. It started already a few years ago with TensorFlow. There's also the Java version of TensorFlow, for instance. But the really change was a few months ago with generative AI, ChatGPT. The whole stuff was instead of creating a Java library that just wrap a call to the OpenAI API, let's make a library where we can really integrate our Java paradigm coding patterns with this generative AI aspect, okay? And that is why you have LangChain, for instance, where you can easily create, like I did that last week. You can create a bot and you don't think about sending requests to OpenAI model. You think about creating a context, okay, retrieving context from a vector database, for instance, and that is all handled for you. Um, and again, the other aspect that I mentioned at one point, this project that you are doing, you want to put it in production because remember that code is only matters once it's running in production. That's all that matters in the end. Production is the most important place in the world. Okay. And to put that in production, you have to have a whole chain, okay, and whole industrial software chain. And that is where Java already have that. Okay. And that is why I think even some people that started maybe in the AI field, some small startups that started using Python, they may maybe consider moving slowly, adopting the Java ecosystem to from the IDE until it is in production. Java is there to help you with the whole flow of putting that in production. So I think that that's the strength of Java.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And fun fact, there's also a Java version of Python called Jython.
Oh yeah,
So you can check that out as well. But no, I think it's more like exactly what you mentioned. Python, it's more like a pseudocode syntax. It's even though when people say like, okay, it's easy to use Python, I agree. It's like relatively less code, and you don't have to define types or whatever. But I think that's the beauty of Java. You get more control over languages. That's why, like, when your security is primal, then I've seen Java being preferred. But again, as you mentioned, to your other point, research purposes. So I think it's easier to get started with Python for some people because it's just like pseudo language or whatever. I would sort of like be I don't know. I started with Java and I loved it. I don't think it's difficult at all. I think people often complain, oh, you have to write so many lines of code, and you have to define everything. And I think that's the beauty of Java, that you have to write everything. You have the control over every minute thing. And when you talk about Python, sure, it's easy to understand and write, but think about how it was built. It's not going to be very straightforward internally. I mean, it's being used, I don't know, C or C++, maybe, the traditional Python. So even though it's easy for you, but the people who built it internally, it might be very too much hard work, complex and stuff. But I think the thing with AI ML is the whole community around it. You know,
also, yeah,
the community for Python is much bigger
yes,
than for
that's true.
Java, and that's one of the reasons why it's preferred. But yeah, there are other languages coming out. Like there's Julia language, which is also popular for AI and ML. But again, the community behind Python is just too big. Um, but yeah, I think what mentioned Sevi mentioned previously, like whatever the work requires should be able to do that. That's what developers, they always keep learning. But
Yeah.
speaking of which, we're talking about the job market. We are getting a lot of questions for that. So you have decades of experience. How has the demand for Java developers changed in the current job market? And right now, if someone wants to go ahead with it, what skills are the employers looking for in Java professionals?
Okay. So there's still, so sometimes I look at job boards or stuff like that to see how, because I love to feel the trends. And I also look at the TOB index of the most preferred languages, and Java is always almost at the top. So if you learn Java today, you will get a job. Okay. If you get your diploma the next day, you will get a job. Believe me. What are recruiters looking for? So doesn't matter. Even if you are a junior, just learn Java, learn the basics. Okay, just learn how Java works, and of course they will ask for some experience around frameworks around Java. So Spring Boot, of course, is one of the most popular one, and you should dive a bit into Spring Boot. But I also advise you to dive into Jakarta EE, which is was first called Java Enterprise. Okay, Java EE is the professional Java, let's say it so. It's enterprise Java. There are some concepts that you need to learn. Okay, maybe it will be hidden by you for you, but if you use frameworks, etc. Let me just close one field here because I'm getting notifications. Sorry about that. Okay, let me go back. Yeah, there we go. Java EE, there are some foundations there that are even in Spring Boot that you don't see, like a servlet. What is a servlet? You should learn what a servlet is. Okay, even if you don't will you won't you will probably don't create servlets yourself. I was creating servlet myself back in 2004, but just learn how it goes. Okay, learn about threads. Okay, that will also be hidden for you. But threads, the threading model in Java, just learn how it works. The garbage collector, that's also done automatically for you. Okay, objects that are not used are removed from the memory. There are some strategies around that. You can help the garbage collector, okay, and it should be good to learn those patterns, but just learn about the garbage collector. Uh, and that is true for any language, for any programming language. It must not be a black box for you, what is happening behind the scenes. Even if you don't use it, you have to understand how it goes. And that's for everyone, even for my kids. I'm explaining what what a program is. I don't want them to see that as black magic. Okay, so it's really important. Um, yeah, thank you. Actually, servlets are used to build web apps. Exactly. So that is my advice. Spring Boot, but don't limit yourself to Spring Boot. Take a look at Quarkus. Again, I love it. But there are other ones like Micronaut, Hilidon. Those are all the projects. And the other way that could be really good for you to get into the Java world, especially as a junior, is check for open source Java projects, check their GitHub, open the issue page, and see if you can contribute. Okay, it could be really easy. It could be, I don't know, adding a test case, something
Yeah,
like.
just on to that, like I started in freshman year to the Kate's Java client. So I also felt overwhelmed, like because the code base is very complex for a beginner. But I think the best way to get started is just get involved. The community is very helpful and supportive, and yeah, can contribute to Quarkus, the Maven plugin, Java client.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So many projects are there.
Okay, I was thinking Quarkus. Yeah, yeah, Quarkus. Someone was asking how do you spell Quarkus, but he spelled it right. So.
Yep, that's Quarkus. But I'll leave all the links in the description below.
Oh yeah, that's
And
awesome. Yeah,
for yeah, thanks for sharing, Sebi. And my next question is, what are some of the what are like due to the like the recent updates? I'm sure you follow in the Java.
oh
How
yeah,
has
yeah.
that affected like the adoption and the application in various industries? And also, um, speaking of which, what are your thoughts on Kotlin?
On Kotlin. Okay. So Kotlin, to be honest, I haven't used it that much. I've played with it. It seems really nice. I know it's used a lot in the Android world. Um, I was using another language than Kotlin. It was called. It was. It's not in the past. It still exists. It was called Groovy. Groovy is based on the GVM. It looks like Java, um, without all the ceremony. I don't know if you know Venkat, one of the best speakers of the world. He say, "Yeah, let's remove all the ceremony. So no semicolons, no types." And Kotlin has also brought in some of those features. Those projects are really important. A project like Kotlin is really important because some really nice patterns that they implement in Kotlin, after a few years, if we see it's robust enough, it's working well, they will be integrated into Java. Okay, so if you take the latest releases of Java, and maybe we can cover that a bit. Um, some of the stuff that were in Groovy or in Kotlin maybe 5 or 6 years ago, now they are part of the GDK. Okay, I could think of stuff like records, the records that was introduced in Java 20, if I'm correct.
Hmm.
Um, a record is basically, instead of doing a POJO, so a plain old Java object, okay, with the getters and the setters, you can use the word record, and in a one-liner, you can define your data object. Okay, this is huge. Stuff like that, or pattern matching on switch cases. Okay, for a long time in Java, it was really limited. now you can have crazy pattern matchings and to make really powerful switch cases. Other thing is string
See, sealed classes are there.
sealed classes, sealed interfaces. That is,
Hmm.
yeah, that is also really nice. It's and one of the most exciting that came with Java 21 are virtual threads.
Hmm.
Virtual thread, we forget that because threads are handled by the framework, okay. But every time that you open a request you have a web app, and every time that the client open a request, okay, it creates a new thread. That works fine. But keep in mind, one thread is 1 megabyte of memory. So imagine you have millions of users, you need millions of memory. Virtual threads introduce the concept of make it possible to reuse a system thread, so a thread from your operating system. And Java 21 is smart enough to reuse this thread without blocking it. So a lot of different connections can use the same concrete thread behind the scenes, but Java will handle that as separate threads. That is one breaking change, breaking one game changer in the Java world, because it will make memory management even better than before. Okay, so these are the exciting stuff for me that I see. So we spoke about AI, about cloud native, about data management. Okay, Java is, if you have to manipulate data. Okay, and when I say manipulate data, it could be persisting data, caching your data, streaming your data, processing your data. Okay, Java has a really, really rich ecosystem around it. If we just mention streaming data, what do you think about streaming data? First thing you think about is Kafka. Okay, and that's my other advice. You should all learn Kafka. Okay, for the future, learn Kafka, learn SQL. That are my two free advices for for now. But Kafka, guess what? Kafka is written in Java. Okay. And the whole ecosystem around it, like Kafka Streams, Apache Flink, those components are written in Java. Another component that I love is, imagine you want to do a change data capture. Really important. What is change data capture? You have a database, okay, and whenever something changes in the database, there's an insert, an update, a delete on a row, okay. You want to be able to capture this change and send it on Kafka, for instance. That's how you can take your legacy software and enter the event-driven world. Well,
Hmm.
this component that can listen to data changes, it's a Kafka connector called Debian. And guess what? It's written in Java as well. So I'm a big fan of Debian. If you go on the Ivan Dev Center, you will find a lot of articles about change data capture. I really advise you to take a look at it because it's so powerful. And yeah,
Yeah, I've pinned the links in the description below so y'all can check it out. And if you're joining right now, you can sign up using the link below and you'll get some free credits to try out Avon and build your project. So no need to add your credit cards or anything, but
exactly.
yeah,
I was
you
about
can
to say
build for free. There are two questions for there's one around IoT, you know, and edge
that. Oh,
computing. What role does Java play over there? And also Web3.
okay. 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 So for the first one, IoT and small devices, edge computing. Okay, so being at the edge of the cloud. Again, a few years ago, and when I started my career back in 2004, 2004, you had G2ME. That was Java for mobile. Okay, I remember I even made a game on my Samsung phone. I was so proud. Then Java moved a bit away from it. The current status is, I let me be honest, I don't see that much Java on the IoT space. It's still there. You have other Models like Rust is really popular there. Rust is really popular for those kind of edging computing stuff. But it's still possible, especially when I mentioned now that Java can be so small and so fast. Okay, using Graal VM to compile to native. Well, it can run on a Raspberry. It can run on a small device. So I think it's just the focus now of the Java ecosystem is not really on that, or maybe it is, but not in my bubble. And for Web3, I'm really sorry, but I haven't dived into this space at all, so there's nothing I can say about it.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry
likewise.
about that.
I didn't I didn't also research much about Web3 and stuff, but I think now people, so there was a big wave of Web3. Everyone was talking about it. Now that is replaced with AI. So everyone's talking about AI. Fortunately, like I'm active a bit in the AI ecosystem, but for Web3 now, I have no idea. But let's move forward. Um, what about new tech companies? For startups, what advantages does Java offer, and when should they consider using it?
Okay, so I will a bit repeat myself, but again, the advantage of a startup, if you start, if you pick a Java stack, you will already have a whole ecosystem around you. Okay, you have something robust. Um, you don't have a new framework coming out every day. Okay, I don't want to troll any stuff, but when I see the front, I'm a backend developer. When I see the front end space, it's oh my, it's so scary. I'm still using jQuery for my front end apps. Okay, and otherwise I ask ChatGPT. But anyway, if you want a solid base, okay, a big ecosystem. If you want to be able to hire people, maybe at one point you want to hire some more senior people or a CTO, it will be way more easy to find someone with a Java background. Okay, and yeah, doesn't matter what you do in your company. Doesn't Java again is everywhere. So
Yeah,
my yeah,
couldn't agree more. Yeah.
yeah. And
People.
and one thing, it's if you go for microservices, maybe you will have some workloads in Java, but you can have some other workloads.
Mhm.
I don't know in
In
other
some other
languages.
languages. Yeah.
Yeah, the Kubernetes make that easy for you. It's just
Mhm.
orchestrating containers. Kubernetes doesn't look the language which is your containers are running in. So yeah.
Yeah. No, couldn't agree more. And some the question also around what is the learning curve. We won't dive much into that because the answer is pretty simple. It's not that difficult, and if you find it difficult, watch my videos. You'll find it easy. I've put a lot of effort into the Java tutorials, but Java, it's not difficult. If you
No.
find it difficult, it just means you're not learning it the right way. It's very beautiful, very well. I would say it's easy language. Sometimes it can get difficult in terms of like what you're doing with it. As if you're making very complex big project, but Java in itself, like getting started with it, the learning curve, it's not
Yeah.
difficult at all.
No.
It's very nice, fun language, and object programming in Java, multi-threading. It's all very nice. I've covered it very nicely, so check that out. But let's talk a bit about like the language security concerns. So, what are the current like security concerns about Java, and how is the community addressing those?
Okay. Security. So Java is known to be pretty well secured. Okay. One simple example is at my company, you can set up a Kafka cluster, and then you have to consume from topics or produce to topics. Okay, and you have to make a secure connection to your Kafka cluster. With most of the languages, with Python, it's just a matter of loading the certificates, okay, and that's it. In Java, it's a bit more complicated. You have those certificates, but Java also needs a trust store and a key store, okay? So those are extra steps that you need to take into account, but which make your workload even more secure, okay? Um, Before joining Ivan, I was working at Red Hat, and I was engineer on the Keycloak project. Maybe you know about Keycloak. Keycloak is one of the most popular identity server. Okay, so for authentication, authorization, and it's really used everywhere. And guess what? It's written in Java. Okay, we have all the crypto. I'm not was talking about cryptographic libraries. We have those in Java. Think of bouncy castle, stuff like that. Um, when there are breaches or CVEs, yeah, that happens always. One of the most famous one is Log4j a few years ago. Okay, but the community handled that very well, because the community is not just developers doing that in their free time. Community is also all the big companies around it. So it's Oracle, of course, Red Hat, IBM, but also other industries. Like for instance, on Keycloak, for the security part, we get most of our contributions from a Japanese company, from Itachi. They were contributing to the project, okay, because they needed some special cryptographic keys. I don't remember, because I'm not really in this space. But you that's also, and that's not just because of Java, but that's the power of open source. The power of open source is, and a lot of people get scary about open source and security, because they say, hey, we can see how the security is implemented. Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. If it's open source, people will be able to contribute to make it more robust. Okay, so I feel really confident in the Java space when it comes to security.
Thanks for sharing, Sevi, and I believe we're almost about time as well.
Okay.
All the questions that we're getting, but I'd also encourage people to join the community and ask your questions over there. We answered most of the ones, and let's talk a bit more about enterprise solutions. And maybe this is where you can mention more about Ivan, because you offer enterprise solutions for people working with Java. So
Yeah.
how is Java maintaining its relevance in the large scale enterprise solutions? And I know many companies do, like Red Hat is a very nice example for this as well. So maybe you can share about Java for enterprise solutions, and a bit more about Ivan and what you offer. And yeah, then we'll take one or two other questions.
Okay. Okay. So so company where I work, Ivan, I will explain a bit more what we do exactly, but uh, we are we have no direct connection with Java, but our customers, our community, that will consume our services, they might be using Java, and I'm pushing for people to use our platform. So we try to make the best of for that. We thanks to Kunal that wrote some tutorials. I wrote some tutorials. I give some talks. Uh, but yeah, in the enterprise space, Java was made to build enterprise projects. Okay, so it's all there. It started back in the years 2000 with EGBs. I don't know if anyone remember AJBs. This old really heavy web logic web application server. Sorry. So uh, again, Java is perfect for enterprise projects. How can it be combined with Ivan, where I work? And let me mention a bit more about Ivan. So Ivan is a data infrastructure platform, and you will need that, because remember what I told you. Data is a more. I told you the one most important thing is production. Okay, and the second most important thing is your data. Okay, your data contains your business logic. And your data, you can persist it, you can cache it, you can stream it, you can process it. Okay, and for each of those components, you have to pick an implementation. You need to know where you host it, how you upgrade it, if it's resilient. You don't want to do that yourself. Okay, you want to delegate that to someone that knows how to do that. And Ivan is exactly that. We have more than 11 products, all open source, and it will cover from persistence, so providing databases, Postgres, MySQL, or NoSQL like Cassandra, caching with Redis, okay, streaming with Kafka, processing with Apache Flink, analytics with ClickHouse. If you never heard about ClickHouse, ClickHouse is such an impressive product. Okay, for all those products, okay, you can build your own data and data platform. And of course, for all those products, you have Java libraries. You don't need to write your own library for that. There are robust, proven libraries for each of those products. Lately, we had a customer that wanted to use Cassandra with Spring Boot, okay, and he was not too sure how to do that. So I wrote a small sample app. It was really easy. Same for ClickHouse. For ClickHouse, there's also a Java library. So you're covered. Whatever you want to do with your data and your stack is Java, well, you are covered. So that's what I can say about Ivan. Again, use the link that Kunal provided, because you will be able to play with the platform. I really advise you to play during the the holidays. Maybe you are on. I will be
Yeah,
on holiday in a few minutes, but try the link. And as Kunal told you, you will have some extra credits. You will have, so I think it's $300, and you will have 100 on top of that because you're using Kunal's framework. No credit card asked. Beside that, we have a free plan for Postgres, MySQL, Redis. So those three, you can create them and they will be free forever. And then you have some
yeah.
credits to play with Kafka. Again, learn Kafka. Play
And
with
there are
Kafka.
some nice tutorials as well on the Ivan blog, so you can check that out as well. But yeah, sign up link in the description below. Check it out, and yeah,
Yeah,
cool, cool.
yeah, yeah,
All
super
right.
cool. Yeah, I'm really excited
Well,
about the future of Java, to be honest. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Thanks for sharing, Ivan, about Java, and it was a great discussion, Sebi. And yeah, that's all. Thanks, Sebi, for the time, and yeah,
Yeah,
this
it
was a
was
lot
a
of fun,
pleasure.
and we answered a lot of popular questions. And the good thing, like we had like consistent around 500 people viewing. I think
Wow.
more than 200 on YouTube, 150 or something on LinkedIn, and rest on Twitter as well. But this is being recorded, so you can watch it later on as well. And all the links will be updated in the description. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one, maybe next year. And
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll do more of these, more hands-on. Let's try to do some of those
Oh, yeah,
next
yeah,
time.
yeah.
But
I want.
this was really fun, and I just want to say happy holidays, and see you, folks.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you. Bye bye.